Hi guys and welcome back to the channel. My name is Adam and my job is to help you become an expert in Snowflake. You might remember a couple of weeks ago I posted a video on Snowflake store procedures. Thanks so much to my guy Simon here who said it was a really great video but he'd appreciate some examples on variable binding. Simon, thanks so much for your comments. Here's the video on variable binding. I hope you find it useful. And in the meanwhile, if you're getting good value from these videos, I'd really appreciate it if you click the like button, subscribe to my channel and click the bell icon to be notified of new content coming weekly.
Okay, so let's get into variable binding in Snowflake. So first of all, what problem are we trying to solve by using variable binding in store procedures? So one way you can create store procedures, and this isn't unique to Snowflake, is you can dynamically build up SQL statements by concatenating strings together. But concatenating text to execute on your database in that way can leave you vulnerable to SQL injection attacks. And if you're not entirely sure what a SQL injection attack is, I'm going to give you some examples and a demonstration on Snowflake in a second and just show how people can inject malicious code into your database and take advantage of the vulnerabilities you've got there. So one way around that is to bind values to variables as part of your store procedure script, and then use those values within your SQL statements before you execute them. And that way you're minimizing the surface attack and the risks to your database. Okay, so moving into Snowflake now, you can see on my worksheet here that I've created a database called sp_demo and a schema called demo. And within that schema, I've got a table called Lego sets. Now this table contains 5 columns and it's a sample data set for Lego that I downloaded from Kaggle to use. So if I select from that table, I've got some of these result sets here. So basically you've got a set number, the name of the set, the year it was produced, and a couple of other things like number of parts and a theme ID. So here you can see I've created a procedure. I've called it SP SQL Injection, and I'm passing in a year as a string. You can see my SQL statement here, which is a very simple select name from the Lego sets table where the year is equal to whatever value I pass in. I execute the SQL command on the next line, and then I loop through the result set and pass us back to the window. So here I'm just going to call the store procedure with the year 1970 in there. And here's the result set coming back. Let me just zoom in. So here's the Lego set name for each of those Lego sets produced in 1970 within that data set. You can see it extends down here to like line 23. If I just close that, zoom back out a little bit. Now because in this store procedure I simply pass in a string, concatenate that to my SQL statement before executing it, it does create a vulnerability where anyone can kind of add any string into here and it'll get executed as part of the statement. So what I can do is instead of calling the procedure with just 1970, I can actually put 1970 or 1 equals to 1. So if I run that and look at the result set again, you can see now I've got far more results because 1 equal to 1 is always going to evaluate to true and it's going to return everything in the result set. Okay, moving on, I wanted to show you another variation of the SQL injection, and I've got a version 2 of the store procedure. This time I just take a column name as a string and I concatenate that at select statement level. So select whatever column name I pass in, again concatenate in the string, so no binding going on to variable. From the Lego sets table, and I've hard coded the year 1970 again. I execute that statement as is, loop through the result set. And so now if I execute this version 2 of the store procedure and I just return the name, so I pass in the variable name, which is going to equate to select name from the table where the year is equal 1970. If I run that, you can see there it's returning the names of all my Lego sets that were produced in that year. So again, number of records, just take a note of that. Okay, and so now I know I can pass in a column into the select statement and that gets concatenated. I can try to be a little bit more sneaky, and if you look at this one here, into the select statement, I'm now going to pass table name from information schema.tables. I'm going to end the statement there with a colon and then comment out the remainder effectively of this text up here. So if I run this, now it returns a list of tables within that schema, and you can see there's my Lego sets table, the one I've been working with, but I've also got this sensitive info table that I've been able to reverse engineer from that SQL injection statement. So now I'd be thinking, okay, well, I want to see what's in that sensitive info table. So scroll down again, I can just do a select star from sensitive info table and comment out the rest of the command. So if I run that, I can see there I've got a column in there called name, James Bond, and that is why you should use binding like this. So how does it differ? So this is a stored procedure doing exactly the same as the first example I showed you, but this time we're using variable binding. So again, I pass in a year as a string as an input variable. I've then got my select name from demo Lego set to a year, and this time I'm specifying a question mark by position. When I build the statement, importantly, I now have this binds keyword, which effectively binds the value, the input variable I'm passing in here, directly into the SQL statement and replaces the question mark at runtime before it executes it with the value of that year. So this time when I run it, I've created a stored procedure, I pass in 1970 again, here's my result set, the same number of rows as before, and if I try to do what I did earlier to try to get more values back than it's designed for, and now get an error because it's binding the value directly to the variable in the SQL statement. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you do variable binding and the reasons why you do it. I hope you find it useful in terms of SQL injection. Please don't try that at home. It's just an example to show you the benefits of binding variables. And please, just a reminder, please like and subscribe if you do find these videos useful, and drop a comment below and let me know if you've got anything else that you want me to cover.